Hey, before we get started, I would really appreciate it if you haven't already. Please hit subscribe. Also, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified anytime we upload anything that's saddle hunting or hunting related. I am doing a special request video. I had somebody that asked me to do a follow-up video on the Ozonics HR300 unit that I purchased. I've run this now for 2 seasons, and it's the first time I've ever used any ozone for a hunting application. And I've got, I would say generally speaking, well, first of all, let me start by saying that the ozone unit has been flawless. It's worked really, really well. I haven't had any issues whatsoever with the unit itself. I usually run it on standard mode when I'm in the field and hunting, and I'm getting about 6 hours of life out of the battery, which I felt was pretty good. So it's a good idea to get yourself a spare battery so that you can hang in there all day. The unit is very, very quiet. I can actually turn it on right here. It's running right now, and it's got a slight hum to it, but basically when you place the unit in the tree, there is a slight hum to it. But I've had deer walking right underneath my tree and not hear it whatsoever. So as far as noise, I don't think it's an issue. When you have some of those days and in some of those areas where it's really, really, really quiet first thing in the morning, sometimes you wonder because this thing is like right next to your ear. But like I said, I've had deer right under the tree and they didn't hear it. One concern that I do have with it is at first light, or when the sun is just starting to come up, it produces a little bit of light. It's kind of like a purplish light. I think they call it a corona discharge. And I was always concerned that maybe something will see that. So sometimes I would either angle it in a way that it's not facing where I expect the deer to come, so they don't see it at first light. But once it's light enough, they wouldn't be able to pick that up. I had, so what I have been doing with this unit mostly is using it for to descent my gear. I would take the unit, you could flip the unit upside down, run it, even upside down. I'll sit it in my vehicle, throw all my gear in there, even your boots and everything. And because it's kind of like hermetically sealed in your vehicle, it will kill all the scent in all your gear and in your vehicle too. I also have like a metal closet that I hang all my hunting gear in, and I'll stick this in there, turn it on, put it in dry wash mode, and it will, with ozone, basically wash all my hunting clothes. So it's been fantastic for that. As far as in the field use, I have mixed feelings on using it in the field. I've had several times where I've had mature deer, just does though. I haven't had any mature bucks get downwind of me while using this unit. So I'm not really sure, how it would work on a mature buck. But I've had mature does many times get on my downwind side. And I'll say this, I've not once have I had a doe or a deer wind me where it, just reading their body language, the deer always seemed to smell something. So I feel like they can smell the ozone and they're trying to identify the smell of the ozone. So ozone doesn't make it where there's no scent because you'll smell the ozone itself. So the problem with it is it's introducing a foreign odor into the woods. However, what I found is it seemed that it was not allowing the deer to smell my human odor. Now, there's some debate on that. I've heard some people say it doesn't really work. All I can tell you is just in my own experience, it sure seemed like I've had on several occasions mature does walk on my downwind side and they're coming through and they look like they're perfectly calm, and then all of a sudden you could just tell that they pick up some type of scent, and then they start scent checking with their nose in the air, and they would get very curious and cautious, but I never had one just blow out of there. So if they were, being they were on my downwind side, I'm assuming they were smelling the ozone, but they didn't act like they smelled me. If they smelled human scent, I feel like they would have really got cautious and just blew out of there. But I never had one do that. So in my own experience, I feel like it does work to help minimize and eliminate your human scent. But with the caveat that you got to remember that I do believe that the deer can smell ozone, and it's something that, just like you or I, if all of a sudden you got a strong smell of ozone, you'd say, what is that? And it's kind of a fresh scent. It's not a bad odor. It's not really good for you to breathe it in, so you got to be careful with that. But and I have smelled ozone naturally outdoors around times where there's storms in the summer, but just not at the concentrations that this will pump it out at. So I think it does work. I think the Ozonics HR300 is a really good unit if you do want to use ozone, and I think it has its place. The unit itself, what I found that this year is, I wanted to do some filming and everything this year, and it just got to be, between carrying a camera arm, an Ozonics unit, and all my gear, it got to be kind of a pain in the neck, frankly, every time I had to bring extra stuff. So there was a lot of times where I didn't even bother taking it with me. I'd just play the wind. But as you know, if you play the wind, if anybody that's ever sat around a campfire knows that you can't really count on the wind sometimes, especially if it's going to be a little bit variable. So, that's where this comes into play. If that wind changes on you, what are you going to do? You're not going to get down every time the wind shifts direction. So this could help you, unless you're maybe utilizing if you're using scent lock gear. I've noticed since I've gotten away from using scent lock gear, the last 2 years I haven't used it as much. Sometimes I would use it, but I'm not seeing as many deer when I'm not wearing scent lock, or at least having close encounters. I feel like scent lock is, really a really good thing to have. So maybe the combination of the two is really good, and this has its place. But hopefully that's helpful to you guys. If you have any questions, post them in the comments section. And remember, do us a favor. Send us a friend request at New York Saddle Hunter Forum on Facebook, and this way you can keep in touch with us and keep track. If you guys have any questions there, we can communicate easier. All right, so thanks for watching, and climb safe and best of luck.